Hi, everyone. I'm Diana Tyler with 92.7 WOBM, and I am so excited to be chatting with John Franklin today. Listen, if you're not watching The Circle, in the words of the movie Pretty Women, big mistake. Huge. He is our Jersey boy playing as Momma Carol, and we love him so much. So please give a round of applause for John Franklin.
Oh man, that might be the best intro of my life. I might have to take you on the road with me when I do stand up. That was so good. Thank you
I
so
would
much.
be more than honored to do that. You are so welcome. How are you doing?
Yo, I'm great. Living the dream out here, still in Hoboken. So living, thriving, surviving. Another day looking at the grass and underneath it. So I'm smiling every day. I'm having a good day.
I love that. So, yeah, you mentioned you live in Hoboken. Did you grow up in Hoboken?
I did not. I grew up in Caldwell, which is in Essex County, New Jersey. So if you ever seen The Sopranos, Caldwell is a big part of it.
Yeah,
But then I moved to Hoboken about a year ago. I've been here ever since, and I love it.
that's awesome. Have you ever gone down to the Jersey Shore?
Of course. I've made my way down, Manasquan many times last 3 summers. Point Pleasant a lot when I was a kid. I know this road LBI a lot with a few of my friends, so I know it. Sea Isle everywhere.
Yes, because it's just not summer if you're not coming down to the Jersey Shore.
Absolutely not. If you're not spending a night at Leggett's in the Osprey, you certainly don't know what fun is.
Oh my God, I love that for you. So, I want to talk about the circle because obviously you're doing so well. Well, we will talk about the cliffhanger in a little bit, but you are doing so
Sure.
well playing as your mom, Carol. I want to know, like, how did you get into this circle and what was your mom's reaction when you wanted to play her, when you told her that? Did she give you any like Jersey motherly advice?
Honestly, so when I went into the whole thing, I auditioned and auditioned and I had this idea to be my mom. And I was like, you know what, this sounds like a cool idea. I knew I could do it because I'm so
Mhm.
close to my mom. It's crazy. Like any other person, I feel like Italian, New Jersey, that's a whole thing.
Yes.
Like I get a text from my mom once a day just to see if I'm breathing. You know what I mean? And so I kind of did it without telling her because I never thought like I'd get an answer. I just kind of like
Mhm.
threw in. This is my only application I've ever sent into a reality show ever. So I like didn't think I would ever get an answer or anything like that. Having to
Wow.
get an answer, yeah, it's crazy. Audition saying I would play as my mom, and I kind of explained to her. She had watched the show sort of a bit in passing while my sister and I were home during like the quarantine. And then as I told her, like, there's a chance I could go on the show, there's a chance, she started to become like a super fan. So she wasn't even giving me advice on how to play her. She was like giving me advice on how to play the game. Like by the time I was going to film the show, like she was gung ho about it.
That's the cutest thing ever, and that's definitely on brand for a Jersey mom.
Yeah. No, it's of course it's like you don't know much about one thing and then all of a sudden you become an expert in a matter of like a week.
Oh, exactly. Like, gotta do it mama's way. So, speaking of that, because I know my Jersey mom, like, it's either Ria's way or the highway. So,
Sure.
and now that she's watching back, is she giving you a hard time with the way you handle the gameplay as her?
No, she actually is very happy with it, like very proud of it. Because she's been getting a lot of responses from like her friends, especially saying like it's clear how close like you and your son are that he knows all this stuff and he sounds like just like you when he sends messages. So it's kind of nice. Like, I obviously know how close I am with my mom, but when you do something like this, people tend to be like, oh, come on, there's no way this like some kid could be his mom. Like you see, and I mean, you even saw it this season. Sometimes like the age gap just creates a problem. But for me, it,
Hmm.
it never has. My mom and I are super close. So it was like, it's all been positive reactions from her and her friends, and like how I've handled playing her. And that has honestly been made it all worth it.
That's so cute. I love just thinking of how your mom is probably like, yay, they know who I am.
Yeah, this is her like her Audrey Hepburn moment. Like she's loving it every
Oh.
day.
That's the cutest thing ever. Do you think there are any advantages being from New Jersey? Because we're a very different breed that gave you, during your gameplay, maybe like sniffing fakes out or anything like that.
I think the great thing about being from New Jersey is we have a great BS meter. I think
Hmm.
that's something that we're all like for some reason gifted with. And I've been blessed with a great one. So like when you're doing a show like this and like a big part of the game is it's not finding catfish. Like nobody wins when they find the most catfishes. It's like
Hmm.
trying to figure out who's really on your side and who isn't, and being able to just like have that sense, that awareness. And just from growing up around where I grew up and the people I grew up around, and being like you said from New Jersey, we have that weird sixth sense where we know when people are, like running us up the flagpole, for lack of a better term.
Yes. And even Brew, I like how you said it's not about being a catfish, it's about building that trust. Like even Brew was questioning Carol and he was like, "Well, yeah, I think Carol's fake, but you know what? Like she's a good person, so I'm going to stick my alliance with her."
Yeah, exactly. And like, the funniest part about that one too is I knew who Brew was when he popped up
Yes.
on my screen. And like because I just working in social media as I do and just knowing who Brew was, I was like, this hold up. Like it was kind of crazy. And now ever since the show, him and I have become great friends. And like it's one of those things where even on screen you see it, it translates off screen, him and I. Like that relationship, even though you see it in 2 minute spurts in our conversations, like well, I was just on FaceTime with him earlier today. Like I'm staying with him when I go to LA in June. Like it's just a
Oh.
friendship it just blossomed out of me being my mom and him just trusting who I was as a person as opposed to trying to figure out whether or not it was real.
Yeah. Now, speaking of your friendship blossoming out of like you being your mom, has she gotten close, like built her own relationship with any of your fellow contestants?
All of them, every single one. So it's really funny because my mom is so invested in not even just like the watching the show, it's just being a part of it as she should be, and I love having her be a part of it. That's like been a lot of the cool parts, like we got to see the billboard in Times Square together, like the
Oh.
really cool things that we've gotten to experience, like you things you never thought you would with your mom. But especially with the cast, like when we went to see the billboard, she got to meet you, Ling and Frank, and like they're hugging up, and like that was
Oh.
really nice. She texts Parker all the time. Like my mom and Parker have like a great friendship. It's insane. My mom also loves to talk to Alyssa a bit. She hasn't really gotten to know many others of the cast just because like it's hard. But
Hmm.
with the ones that she really does know, and like when I say all of them, I mean all of them want to meet her. Like and we're gonna try to throw a little party like this summer at my parents' house, just like the members of the circle. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Like Trev is super excited to meet her. Like even I've met and talked to Delisa. Like, she's super excited to meet her. It's pretty wild.
That's cool. Yeah, I was gonna suggest. I was like, Mama Carol needs to make a big Jersey Italian Sunday dinner.
As soon I am not even kidding you. As soon as I got home, that was plan A for her. She was like, "We're having a circle party." So like my dad's the one who cooks, but she bakes like nobody's business. So she's like, "I got desserts." My dad's like, "I'm cooking. We're having everybody over." Classic like backyard New Jersey party. Like throw the tent up, get like the long
Yes,
tables, the folding chairs. Like you know what I'm talking about. Like coolers of beer, coolers of everything. Like yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
like stuffed shells and all that good stuff.
Everything. Oh my god, everything. And then like how it always goes with dads. Like they do all the Italian things, right? It's like yeah, so the penne vodka is gonna be made, the stuffed shell, everything. And then like at about 11 o'clock, 12 midnight, when people have been drinking, he lights up the grill and now he's making burgers.
Yes.
Yeah. So like he's like we're gung ho about it. We're super stoked.
I always find there's never enough food, or like the opposite. They made so, or well, there's never enough food, meaning like there's always too much food. But then it's
Right.
like always like, oh, I forgot the like fried asparagus. And we're like, oh, darn, as if we all
Yeah.
didn't eat enough already.
That's so true. Like I've never even thought about that, but every family party I've ever had, there's always a dish that was forgotten to be served, and people like almost eat it out of obligation. Like, all right, well, we can't leave the poached salmon. Like we got,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like they made it. We got to try it.
Yes, that's hysterical. Like only a Jersey thing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
So you brought up Parker before, and I actually wanted to talk a little bit about her because
Yeah.
you were not the only person playing as a parent. She played as her dad, Paul, but she was the first player blocked. So do you think there was a difference in your guys' gameplay that made you more successful?
Yeah. I think the difference between Parker and I and the way we played the game, I wholeheartedly believe that if Parker played herself, she would have like made it
Hmm.
farther. She definitely would have. But I think like she came in with the strategy that I sort of had in an opposite sense. And she wasn't prepared for the kind of like those, I would say like classic references that you have to
Hmm.
make when you're playing like just off the cuff. Like there are times like I've referenced, Prince in the last
Yes.
batch episodes. I referenced like there's a conversation you don't see where I mentioned Gloria Gaynor and like people are super confused on who even that is. So it's like you have to know that going into the game playing somebody else, it's not because your personality is bad because I love Parker. It's because like you're playing a character, you're acting at that point
Mm-hmm.
to a certain degree, as honest as you might try to be. So I think Parker went in thinking she could do it, but then realized very quickly that it's not as easy to fake just being a dude when the dude has so many layers, like Paul has so many layers to his age, like who he is, what he does, and it became very apparent the thumbs up, thumbs down game, like
Yes.
he wasn't who he said he was.
Exactly. Yeah, I give you so much credit because I don't know if I could play as his parent, especially you full out commit to the role. Like we see you so many times when you're asking questions to Alyssa, who is the assistant to the sex coach. You're like
Yeah,
getting intimate advice about essentially your parents' marriage, and you're having a full on life crisis. Like
panic attack.
I don't want to do this. And that's just, it's more entertaining for us. Like, did your mom watching that back, did she kind of give you flack for that or you bring it up at all?
No, we talked about it. She thought it was hilarious because I've like it's a game. Like
Right.
I'm not doing it because like it's certainly like if it's true or not. Obviously, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But it's like I know I'm playing a character at that point, right? Like
Hmm.
you have to have that conversation for it to feel real. Like for Alyssa
Yeah.
on the other end, who was very clearly, as I've watched it back, was so unsure about me. Like she had mentioned to me after the fact, she had like pages of notes. And if you watch the show, you could see like she has like 2 pages of connected notes like plastered on her wall about me because she cannot figure me out. So
Yeah.
at that point, it was like, I have to commit to this ridiculous bit and just ask about like what my marriage life would be like if I were married for 30 years. And it worked. I mean, and people have loved it, which has been the funniest part for me, like being somebody who does and wants to continue to do comedy and stand up, and like people finding that to be like the funniest part of the show and like having fun watching it, like that, it makes it all worth it, you
Yeah.
know?
And I feel like at least now you have marriage advice for like further down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm finally married for 30 years, God willing, I'll be able to look back and be like, I'm ready for this. Like the first 29 years might have been crap, but you get ready for the 30th because I'm gonna nail it.
There you go. Speaking of relationships, did anything blossom between you and Parker?
Oh my God. So Parker and I have become like absolute best friends, but no, we're not like, it was never a romantic relationship. It was one of those things like after the fact, like even when you watch it on the show, just a house on fire. Like we could talk for
Hmm.
hours, her and I, but it was never something where we ever felt romantic about it. It was just like we're gonna be best friends, and like we love it. Like we call checking on each other all the time, and like it's made watching the show so much easier. Like
Yeah.
being a part of everything because with all the positives that come with it, you never know how certain audience members are going to react to certain things. But having each other's back has been such a fantastic part of it. And yeah, we have become utmost best friends. Like we have a group chat with me, her, and my mom. Like it's
That's
great.
so cute. Yeah, you guys will always be bonded by that experience because there's really not many people who go through anything like that.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I say all the time. Like with this show, you look at the cast of characters that we have. This group, the fact that we're all friends is crazy because like we're from so many different walks of life. But then you
Hmm.
realize we have this incredibly unique experience that bonds us all, and it's like nothing we would ever trade in the world. And it's made us like our own little family.
Yeah. So I want to get your advice for future players considering going on the show.
Oh yeah, I mean, I be yourself is a weird one for me to give, but it's true. It like what I mean by that is like when you're trying to, when you're nobody will sell you better than yourself,
Hmm.
and that was like what sort of again, this is almost like a New Jersey thing too. It's like being able to talk to anybody, sell ice to an Eskimo, sort of a thing, and be able to, just say why you're the greatest. You have to be able to go in with a clear mind of what your plan is. Like you can't
Hmm.
just make something up and keep going with it. Like when you settle on what your plan is, it's like, okay, now how do I do it? Like how do I become better at it? How am I the best? How am I going to win? How am I going to like move on in this game? Things like that. So it's like it's interesting, but I would say my best piece of advice is whether you're going in as a catfish, whether you're going in as yourself, you have to understand that your pitch has to be rock solid because you never know how many applications there are, who's applying. Like, for us, like Brew and Crystal, who had millions of followers, are on the show with us. And I had, when I left to do the show, I think 1,800 followers.
Hmm.
And you're like I'm nothing special. Nobody knows who I am. So this is my chance to be somebody that people get to know. So you gotta believe that you're just as fit to be in the room as anybody else.
Yeah, which it's funny you just said like you almost contradicted yourself because you're like, I'm nothing special, nobody knows who I am. But then it's like, be yourself. And what I want to say about that is like your spark, your specialness is really what makes the audience like fall in love with you. And then by that, like automatically fall in love with Carol. Cause it's like
Yeah.
you're being yourself through your mother's persona.
Oh my God, yeah. And like I think one of my favorite parts about that too, and like you bring up like the personality aspect of it is that I love when people come up to me, like especially around town, like in the city yesterday, a couple of people came up to me, like recognizing me. Like I love people, like getting to talk to them and like say what's up. Like people love the show, and that's always even when I went on the show, all my reactions are as genuine to me as possible. Like when I make those faces, like when I'm saying what I'm saying, like that's like how I react to things in real life. As simple as like even when my roommate says things or like things like anything crazy, I'm just like I don't know how to react other than be myself, and that's what has gotten me this far. And I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Exactly. So, couple more questions. We're getting a
Anytime.
new episode tomorrow night. So, for everyone watching, today is Tuesday. You might be watching after, who knows? But
Yeah.
tomorrow night, Wednesday, we are picking up on a huge cliffhanger. So, the circle was interrupted by that virus, that data breach. And now each player is passing along the virus protecting the antivirus software. So, we're on
Right.
the cliffhanger. Two cast members left, and Momma Carol is one of them. She might not get
Heck
that
yeah.
antivirus blocking software. How
Yeah.
are you feeling? How is Momma Carol and John feeling in this moment?
I've kind of back pocketed it for the week. You because you're trying not to let it live at the forefront of your mind, but obviously it's coming. The
Yeah.
decision's coming, and it's coming in literally a few hours. So it's not far away from getting to see what happens, and you're nervous, you're excited because obviously like we've filmed everything. But the excitement and the nervousness comes from the reaction of everybody else and how it all works out. So it's a whole hell of a lot that's gonna happen. A whole heck of a lot. I apologize. That's gonna
It's fine. You can
happen.
say hell.
But okay. But I'm very like I'm excited, nervous. It's a litany of emotions, but it's gonna be so wild. And for anybody who hasn't watched yet, this is one of the coolest things that's ever happened on this show. If you've ever watched the show, this is so unique and it's so incredible to watch and be a part of. So, as nervous as I am, I'm still excited because we've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, I love how they find ways to reinvent the show every single season. I think that's what keeps it fresh and exciting. And like I said
Absolutely.
earlier, if you're not watching, like you better change your mind on that one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Like when you sit down and watch, if you watch from season one, episode one to the last episode that came out of our season, you've almost watched four different shows in four
Yes.
different seasons. And that's what I find to be like one of the coolest things about this show.
Yes, absolutely. So everyone better tune in. Well, now I guess it's tonight at midnight or tomorrow. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say? Because you are such a Jersey guy. Anything you want to say to the
Ah,
state of New Jersey? This is your platform.
Oh man. All right, let's do it. So I got a couple things and I'll try to run through them really quick. Guys, I am a stand-up comedian on the side of all this crazy reality situation that's been going on. So if I'm ever doing a show, I'm doing a show in Princeton this weekend coming up. I do shows in the city all the time. Please follow me on Instagram, at _ John Franklin _ You can find me, all of my comedy, everything I'm doing right there. Follow me on TikTok at John Franklin Comedy.
Very well said. I will second that. Like Jersey, you know what to do. Let's show our familia some love.
I love
And
that.
yeah, thank you, John, so much for sitting down with me. This was an absolute pleasure.
Oh, Diana, you were a rock star. I really appreciate you having me. It was great.
Thank you.